So of course, the point is that when you want to be creative, but you're not exactly sure how, or what you want to do, or how you want to do it. See, the way I did it in later years then, like quite recently, you know, I started to look at the stuff that I like doing while doing the things that I don't like to do. So every time I procrastinated, or I did things that I actually like, so that was creating graphs, which is actually, you know, I like being creative. I didn't like just using what other people found out, which is what science is about. You just quote what other people said, and the more quotation, the better is what you say. Well, why? I mean, I could have written about the monkeys without quoting anybody else. That's just how it is. And that's why I don't include quotes in my work, because it's all more or less just from me. And sometimes I need some impulses from other people, whoa. But usually it's just my own stuff. But I also spend time collecting that data all the time. And then I just allow my mind to analyze it. And anyway, I looked at, okay, what did I like to do? I didn't like quoting stuff and writing it down. No, what I liked was creating graphs. And that's why I use LaTeX for my writing, because I actually like that. And now recently I realized I was missing doing these kind of videos. And already now I think about, well, what will I do when I'm done with these recordings that I'm making now? Like, what if I have reached video 177? Am I not going to terribly miss that? But that's the point. Because now I start missing to write maybe. So I try to look forward to writing. And then I finish these videos, I already have something else to do, which is then writing. And depending on where I am then, because maybe I'm gonna move somewhere else, who knows? I can, for example, focus on making music, because that's something I want to make. But for that I need to get out of here. Because for that I have to be able to be as loud as I want to be. Yeah, despite the stuff that I say on ticks, I still check, like I make sure, like I don't ask for them. So when I go outside, I also check for ticks. And I also, because I am quite attentive, I usually realize them as soon as they start climbing up my leg. And then I just take them off. And still I think they're marvelous animals. And I think nature would be missing something. And that's what I had in a dream once while doing mushrooms. That ticks are healers from Mother Nature, and they do kind of acupuncture. And if your body needs healing, they will activate your hidden healing. And if you're trying to resist that, like, then you just have to change something. Instead of suppressing it, you have to give your body what it needs to fight what's inside. The tick is just showing you something's wrong in your body. You have to start, like, you have to heal now. And so, yeah, it's just important to ask questions and to look at what did you always like doing? And then you just try to find new ways of doing this. And that's why, yeah, somehow I'm reluctant to continue with making these videos, because I'm afraid if I'm done with it, I won't know what else to do. But I think I will know it, that's the thing. Because then the next job is just writing books. Because now every time I want to write books, I will think of making videos. So I have to get that out of the way, so to speak. And then just see what I will come up with. Because also in a couple of months I will make videos again. And then that just allows you to grow as an artist. Yeah, I know I've said that already in other videos, but it's some days ago now. So you allow yourself to change by not always doing everything at once. But also you force yourself to continue. So you try every day to just do something. Whatever it is, you just keep going, and that's why it is important to set goals. Now, if I wouldn't have had the goal to do these 177 videos, just like I had the goal before to do 20 episodes for my podcast, I would have stopped. And I wouldn't have been able to get to that place now, where I feel like, holy shit, like, look at what I've all created. I mean, that's amazing. And then you just keep going and keep going and keep going. And then there will be probably times where you can relax a bit. I don't know. And spend time with your beautiful wife or beautiful husband. And just do the things that you like to do. And there's something I need to talk about. Because, like, sometimes I say things and you might think, well, how can he know that, right? How can he know that? But the thing is, if you concern yourself with finding truth, and if you concern yourself with unmasking liars, you will realize that you pick up a great deal. And that's maybe then your inner shaman. Not everybody is able to do that. Not everybody is able to do that. But there are people who are able to do this. And I happen to be one of them, and that's just a fact. And I once sold some of my diving gear. And the couple that came, they were gay, a gay couple. And they had this, I mean, of course, any couple can have that. But one was clearly more like the female and the other one was more like the male. But the thing is, I could sense that they weren't honest to themselves. They weren't actually gay. It was just an act. They weren't actually gay. They just had a problem with their male side. And then they had probably feelings, sometimes towards other men, like wanting to kiss them. And because they had these feelings, they thought, okay, because I have that, it must mean that I'm gay. But it doesn't mean that you're gay. It just means that you just want love from a man, that you have been denied probably from your father. So now you must learn to give that to yourself, and then you will grow as a man. But now you can also start feeding your female side, of course, because you hate that male side inside of you. So you start feeding your female side, and then you will have other men fuck you in the butt. Or you will talk like, aha, aha. Well, then you're not a man anymore. Well, you're still a man, but you're just feeding the wrong traits. So I'm a man, and I have a female side to me. And this kind of soft side, I had to learn how to express that. So for me also this creative side is more the female side. But I'm still doing it in a male way, because what I want is to express not my femininity. No, of course I want to express myself, but also as a man. So I also need to think about who I am as a man, who I want to be, and then start to develop the right skills and to accept myself as a man. But also accept that, right, if you see always these women always crying, and then you think, you know, that's how a woman is. No, it's not. That's how women today think they should be. You know, whiny little sissies. And that's how men then, you know, then they even want men to cry. Why? A strong woman doesn't do all that whining and crying like, they just learn to do that because it gets them attention and it gets people to hug them. Because clearly they're missing something they should have given to themselves. I'm so miserable. Like, there's no need for women to always cry. Like, stop crying. Like, why do you need so much attention? And that's why it makes me sometimes angry when people say, oh, look, you know, you're never crying. It's like you don't have emotions to them. Yeah, I have emotions. I just don't show them like you do. Like, I don't whine like you do. Usually when I cry, it's with a smile on my face. When I'm angry, I'm angry. When I'm crying, I'm just enjoying it because I like the feeling. It doesn't happen very often. Usually it happens when I yawn, then some tears come out. And sometimes on ayahuasca ceremonies. But usually it's accompanied by yawning. That's then how I cry. And sometimes I have this side in me that wants to cry, and then I just think, shut up. So, men who cry a lot and women who cry a lot, they're just pussies. That's just how I see it. Like, they wouldn't survive a day probably in the wild. They'd just shit their pants all the time. And then whine. It's just the ego or something. Because the ego always wants me, right? I want attention. And if nobody's looking, they're probably not crying. The only times they're crying is when there's people around looking at them. Yeah, I can't really take people serious that cry a lot. Because at one point, yeah, I'm not gonna give you hugs anymore. But that's exactly the problem. That parents today, as soon as the child is crying, they just run for it. That's just not what you should do. But if you don't do it, then people will say, oh, it's child abuse. Look at that poor child. Well, as a parent, you have to be able to withstand this kind of pressure that people try to put on you from the outside, where they mark you as a bad parent because you don't run after your child's every need. Like, now imagine you are parents, and most parents are so concerned with the child's needs that they neglect their own needs. And how can you love a child if you start hating each other? If you don't spend time with each other anymore. A child, you know, can cry for a bit. So if you say today, you know, we want to take time for ourselves and we want to have sex, then it's absolutely okay to take that child, put it into his bed, and then you go to another room and you just focus on each other. I believe that should be absolutely okay. Because you two also have needs. And you can't always be concerned 100% with the child. Because normally we probably would live in a kind of a different environment where you could just give your child, say, hey, can you take care of him or her? We just want some time for ourselves. And maybe you can't do that. And then also, see, this is something some people may find weird, but like, why does it have to be something so bad? So let's say you want to have sex and you just take the child and put it with you in the room and you just have sex then. I mean, it's a loving environment, isn't it? And until which age would that be okay? Why do we always act like, it's something weird for children to see this? Like they would be traumatized. I think it's only if we make a problem out of this that the child might think it was something traumatizing. So you can convince people that they're traumatized even though they're actually not. And that's why, I don't know, maybe let's say your child is 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, 7 years old, and you just have sex with each other. Of course, then the child wants attention all the time. But what if you would just continue? Like, what would happen? Is that okay to do this? Nobody can tell you this. I think you have to figure that out for yourself. How do you want to live your sexuality? I mean, there's people that walk around naked at home. I think that should be alright. I don't think I would do that. But I'm not sure. So, it's not for others to tell you what's okay. I think it's for you to figure out what's okay. And of course, it's also good to prepare yourself. Maybe somebody will find out, because then your children may talk to others about this. Yeah, my mom and dad have sex, and I'm in the room. And then people will think you're abusing your child. What are you doing to your child? And maybe then social services will come. So how do you deal with that? So that's for you to figure out. Yeah. It's just these social norms and things they try to force on us. You just have to make conscious decisions and then prepare yourself for eventualities. It's like I have done with writing the Book of Fear and writing all of this content and talking about, sometimes famous people or criticizing the way the government does things. I've concerned myself with the fear that people will storm into my house or where I live and arrest me. I have been dealing with that fear ever since I started doing these things, just raising questions, which seems to be something forbidden nowadays. And I'm just doing it anyway, so I have to suffer the fear. Because it's not just, if everybody thinks the politicians are full of shit, but nobody says it, well, nothing's gonna change. So I'm just saying it.